If you're running a concrete company and you want to run Facebook ads, but you have no idea what to spend, you're not alone. Most concrete guys either spend too little, get garbage results, and walk away thinking ads don't work, or they throw money at it with no clue whether it's actually paying off. Both roads end the same way. You're back to relying on word of mouth and hoping the phone rings. I run Facebook ads for concrete companies every day, and in this video, I'm gonna give you a simple formula to calculate exactly what you should be spending based on your own numbers, your job size, your close rate, and how much work you actually wanna book. Here's the problem with asking how much should I spend on Facebook ads. If you go Google that right now, you're gonna get answers like spend 5 to 10% of your revenue or start with $1,000 a month. And that sounds helpful, but it's not super useful because a concrete company doing 500,000 a year running 3-man crews is a totally different business than a company doing 1.5 million with 2 crews and a sales rep. The right budget for one of them could be dead wrong for the other. A guy pouring mostly driveways and sidewalks at 5 to 7 grand a pop needs a completely different budget than a guy doing big stamped patios and pool decks at 15 to 20,000. Their markets are different, their margins are different, their close rates are different. So anyone giving you a flat number without knowing your business is just guessing. And guessing with your ad budget is exactly how guys end up spending $2,000 to $3,000 with nothing to show for it and then swearing off Facebook forever. So instead of giving you some generic number, I'm gonna show you how to figure out your number. But before we get into the actual math, I need to change how you think about this because most concrete guys are asking the wrong question in the first place. And if you don't fix that, the formula won't help you. When most guys think about a Facebook ads budget, they think about it like a bill, like it's another monthly expense sitting next to their truck payment and their insurance. And when you think about it that way, your brain does what it naturally does with expenses. It tries to minimize it. You look for the cheapest option. You try to spend as little as possible. And that's exactly the wrong way to think about this. Here's how I want you to think about it instead. Don't ask how much should I spend on Facebook ads. Ask how much does it cost me to get a concrete job and what is that job worth to me? Because once you know your cost to acquire a job, the budget question answers itself. If I told you that for every 300 bucks you gave me, I'd hand you back an $8,000 concrete job, how many times would you want to make that trade? As many as your crew can handle, right? You wouldn't be trying to minimize that, you'd be trying to maximize it. That's the shift. Your Facebook budget isn't a bill you're paying, it's a machine where you put money in one end and jobs come out the other. And once you see the math, you'll understand exactly how that machine works and what it costs to run it. So let's build it. There are 4 numbers you need to know before you can figure out your budget, and I'm gonna walk through each one. The first number is your average job size. This is the average dollar amount of a completed concrete job for your company. For most residential guys doing driveways, patios, sidewalks, that's usually somewhere between $7,000 to $10,000. If you're doing a lot of decorative or stamped work, you might be averaging $12,000 to $15,000 or higher. If you're mostly doing smaller stuff like pads, sidewalk sections, small patios, you might be closer to $4,000 or $5,000. Whatever it is, you need to know that number for your business specifically because it changes everything downstream. If you're not sure, go look at your last 20 to 30 completed jobs and average them out. That's your number. The second number is your booking rate. Out of every 10 leads that come in from your Facebook ads, how many of them actually end up sitting down with you or your estimator for a real quote? A good benchmark to work with here is 50%. So if you get 10 leads, about 5 of them should be scheduling and showing up for an estimate. Now, if you're way below that, say only 2 to 3 out of 10 are booking, that's a follow-up problem, not an ads problem. That means leads are coming in and either nobody's calling them back fast enough or there's no system in place to get them scheduled. That's fixable, but it's a different conversation. For the purposes of this formula, we'll use 50% as the baseline because that's a realistic, achievable number for a concrete company that's actually following up with their leads. The third number is your close rate. So out of every 10 estimates you go out and run, how many of those turn into a signed job? For leads coming from Facebook ads, a solid close rate is around 30%. Now I know that some of you are thinking 30% sounds low, and if you're used to closing referrals, it is low compared to that. Referrals come in pre-sold. Somebody already told them you do great work. They trust you before you even show up. And half the time the estimate is just a formality. A Facebook lead is different. This is a homeowner who was scrolling their phone, saw an ad for your concrete company and raised their hand. They're interested, but they're not sold. They're probably getting 2 or 3 other quotes. So your close rate on these leads is gonna be lower than referrals, and that's completely normal. 30% is a healthy, realistic number. Some guys do better, especially if they've got a strong sales process and they're fast on follow-up, but 30% is a solid baseline to plan around. The fourth number is your cost per lead. This is what you actually pay Facebook every time a homeowner fills out a form or takes action on your ad. For concrete companies, the range I see is anywhere from $20 to $50 per lead. That varies based on your market, your ad creative, your offer, how dialed in your campaigns are. If you're in a competitive metro area, Dallas, Phoenix, Atlanta, you're probably gonna be closer to that $40 to $50 range. Smaller market with less competition, you might be closer to 20 or 25. A good number to plan around for most concrete companies starting out is about $30 to $40 per lead. That's realistic, it's achievable, and it gives you a conservative number to build your budget on. You can always improve it over time as your ads get dialed in. Now here's where it gets good, because when you combine these four numbers, the math on what you should spend does itself. Let's run through this together. Say your average concrete job is $8,000 and you want to add $50,000 a month in revenue from Facebook ads. First question, how many jobs is that? 50,000 divided by 8,000 is roughly 6 jobs. You need 6 new jobs a month from Facebook. Now work backwards. If you're closing 30% of your estimates, how many estimates do you need to land 6 jobs? Take 6 divided by 30% and that's 20 estimates. You need to be running about 20 estimates a month from Facebook leads to close 6 of them. Next, if 50% of your leads are booking estimates, how many leads do you need to get 20 estimates? That's 20 divided by 0.5, so 40 leads. You need about 40 leads a month coming in from Facebook. Now multiply that by your cost per lead. If you're at $40 per lead, 40 times 40 bucks is $1,600 a month. That's your budget. Not some number you pulled off a blog, not what your buddy told you he spends, not what some marketing guru said works for contractors. That's the math based on your business, your average job size, and your close rate, and how much work you actually want to book. If you want to add 30 grand a month instead of 50, the number gets smaller. If your average job is 12 grand instead of 8, the number gets smaller. If your close rate is 40% instead of 30, the number gets smaller. The formula is the same, you just plug in your numbers. Now let's talk about what that number actually means, because this is the part that should get you excited. And honestly, this is the part that changes how most concrete guys feel about spending money on ads. You just calculated that it costs you $1,600 a month to generate $50,000 in revenue. But let's break that down further. You spent $1,600 and you got 6 jobs out of it. That means you paid roughly $265 to acquire a single concrete job worth $8,000. You're getting about a 30-to-1 return on every dollar you put in. Now let me put that into context. If you're on Angie or HomeAdvisor right now, you're paying 25 to 100 bucks per lead, depending on the job type. And those leads are being sent to 3 or 4 other contractors at the same time. The close rate on those is terrible. Most guys I talk to say they need 10 to 20 Angie leads to land a single job. So if you're paying 50 bucks per lead and you need 15 of them to close 1 job, that's $750 to acquire 1 job. And that's a job where the homeowner was shopping on price from the start, because that's the kind of buyer those platforms attract. Google ads can work great for concrete, but the cost per lead is significantly higher, about $80 to $150 per lead in most markets. But the lead quality is better because these are people actively searching for a concrete contractor, but you're paying a premium for that intent. And Google campaigns take real expertise to manage. It's not something most concrete guys can set up themselves and get right. Referrals are obviously the gold standard. They're free, they close at a high rate, and the customer already trusts you, but you can't control them. You can't say, I need 10 more referrals that month and just make it happen. They come when they come. Facebook sits in the sweet spot that none of those sources hit. It's affordable enough that the math works even at modest budgets. You control the volume, spend more, get more leads, book more jobs. And unlike Angie or Thumbtack, these are your leads. They're not shared with 3 other contractors. A homeowner saw your ad, your work, your company, and they raised their hand to talk to you. That's a fundamentally different kind of lead, and it's why the cost per acquired job ends up being lower than almost any other paid source out there. So the math works, the ROI is there, but there's one thing that trips up a lot of concrete guys, even after they know this, and that's trying to spend too little. If you take that formula and your number comes out to $1,600 a month, do not try to test it at 500 bucks. I see this constantly. A guy does the math, sees that he should be spending $1,500 or $2,000 a month, and then says, well, let me just start at 500 and see if it works. Here's why that backfires every time. Facebook's algorithm needs data to work. Its entire job is figuring out who in your area is most likely to want a new driveway or patio and showing your ad to those people. But it can only learn who those people are by collecting data on who clicks, who watches, who fills out a form. When you spend $500 a month, that's about 16 bucks a day. At $40 per lead, you're getting maybe 1 lead every 2 or 3 days. The algorithm has almost nothing to work with. It can't identify patterns, it can't optimize your delivery, and your results are gonna be terrible. Then you're gonna shut it off after 3 weeks and tell everyone that Facebook ads don't work for concrete. That wasn't a Facebook problem, that was a budget problem. You didn't give the system enough fuel to run. The floor for running Facebook ads and actually giving them a fair shot is around $1,500 a month. That gets you roughly 50 bucks a day, which generates enough lead volume for the algorithm to learn and optimize. Below that, you're not saving money, you're guaranteeing bad results. Now, $1,500 a month genuinely isn't in the budget right now, that's fine, but that's a business model conversation, not a marketing conversation. That means you need to focus on tightening up your pricing, your margins, or your cash flow so that investing in growth becomes possible. but don't run ads at $500 a month and then blame the ads when it doesn't work. That's like hiring one laborer and expecting him to do the work of a full crew. Now, once you're at that 1,500 or above and the formula checks out, you need to know what to actually expect, because month 1 is not gonna look like month 3. And if you don't know that going in, you'll pull the plug right when things are about to start working. The first 30 days is a testing phase. You're gonna start seeing leads within the first day or 2. That part happens fast. Facebook will start delivering your ad almost immediately, and people will start filling out forms. But in those first couple of weeks, lead quality is gonna be all over the place. You'll get some solid leads from homeowners who genuinely want a driveway or patio. You'll also get some that don't answer the phone, some that were just curious, and some that had no idea they even filled out a form. That's normal, and it's not a sign that things are broken. Your ads are being tested, and the algorithm's learning who actually responds and engage versus who doesn't. And you're figuring out which messaging and creative resonates in your market. By the end of month 1, you should be putting out more estimates than you were when you started running ads. That's the first milestone. Month 2 is where it starts clicking. By now, you know which ads are performing and which ones aren't. Your cost per lead should be coming down as the algorithm gets smarter about who to show your ads to. And you should be closing real jobs from these leads, actual signed contracts from homeowners who found you through Facebook. This is where most guys start to see real ROI in what they spent. The system is working, it's just not fully optimized yet. Month 3, you're scaling. The campaigns are dialed in, your cost per lead is stable, and you're consistently booking estimates and closing jobs. Now it's about turning the dial up. But here's the key, don't double your budget overnight. You wanna scale 15 to 25% per week. So if you're spending $1,600 a month, bump it to about $1,850 the next week, then $2,100 the week after that. You wanna let the algorithm adjust to each increase. If you dump a bunch of money in all at once, say you go from $1,600 to $4,000 overnight, you'll spike your cost per lead, the algorithm will scramble trying to find that many qualified people at once, and you'll kill the momentum you just spent 2 months building. The other thing to know about this phase is that your ads aren't going to run forever without attention. The creative, the videos and images in your ad are gonna fatigue over time. The same people in your area keep seeing the same ad and they stop engaging with it, and your costs start creeping up. At the budget levels we're talking about, plan to refresh your ad creative every 2 to 4 weeks. That doesn't mean rebuilding your entire campaign. It means shooting a new 30-second video on a job site, swapping in some fresh photos, or testing a different angle in your ad copy. As long as you keep the machine fed with fresh material, then it's gonna keep performing. So give it 90 days, that's the real timeline. Not 90 days of sitting back and hoping. 90 days of the algorithm learning, your ads improving, and your follow-up tightening, and the leads getting better and better. Most concrete guys who quit Facebook ads quit in the first 30 days. They never even gave it a chance to work. The guys who commit to 90 days and trust the process are the ones booking jobs off Facebook a year from now and wondering why they didn't start sooner. Now you know what to spend and why that makes sense for your concrete business, but your budget doesn't mean anything if the campaign itself is set up wrong. Wrong objective, wrong targeting, wrong creative. And that's where most concrete guys burn through the budget we just calculated. I made a video breaking down the exact Facebook ad strategy that's actually working for concrete companies right now. Everything from how to set up the campaign to what your ad should look like. Check it out right here.